There is a place so few ever speak of, not because it's a secret, but because most will never believe it exists. It's not found on a map, nor accessed by technology. It's not the stuff of fantasy, though it feels like a dream the first time you step into it. It's real, it's ancient, and it's hiding in plain sight. We call it the hidden quantum portal, and the elite 1% chosen ones who walk this earth in silence, in mastery, in light. They use it. Not for power, not for fame, but for healing. For true, unfathomable, irreversible healing. And in this journey, you're going to see it. When we filmed this, we didn't even know what we were about to experience. We thought we were going to meet a healer deep in the Peruvian mountains. We thought this would be a typical spiritual exploration. But within an hour of arriving, the guide, a woman who hadn't aged in over 50 years, led us to a cave carved into the rock, a place locals refused to go near. They called it La Porta Sin, lave the door without a key. And when we stepped into the cave, the air changed. The vibration of the space was so thick we could feel it press against our skin. Something was there, not visible, but undeniable. The woman looked at us and said, "This is not a place. It is a frequency." That sentence shattered the logic in our minds, because suddenly we knew this wasn't about geography. It was about alignment. The hidden quantum portal is not physical. It's energetic, and the chosen ones don't find the portal by searching outward. They locate it by shifting inward. It's not a door you unlock. It's a dimension you attune to. But to attune to it, you must first strip away everything that keeps you vibrating in distortion.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
So what is this distortion? It's the accumulation of every belief, trauma, and emotion that blocks you from your original signal. Our bodies carry frequencies of fear, guilt, shame, many of which aren't even ours. They're inherited, generational, cultural. And as long as those lower frequencies dominate, you cannot access the portal. That's why the elite 1% spend years, sometimes decades, deconstructing their false selves. They meditate, fast, sit in silence, endure isolation not to punish themselves, but to shed the noise. Because only when the noise is gone can you hear the hum of the portal calling you. We saw it happen. The moment our guide began chanting, the cave echoed back a tone none of us had ever heard before. It wasn't a sound, it was a vibration. And that vibration bypassed the mind and went straight into the nervous system. One of us dropped to our knees and began weeping, not from sadness, from remembering. Because the portal doesn't heal you by adding something new. It heals you by restoring what you truly are. And what you truly are is light, coherent, infinite, intelligent light. The chosen ones understand this. They know that healing is not about fixing. It's about returning to the original blueprint of the soul before the world told you who to be. But here's the paradox. You can't return until you're willing to let go of the version of you that survived. The you who adapted, who coped, who built walls. That version got you here, but it can't take you through the portal. So the chosen ones do something most people never dare to do. They surrender their survival identity. They let it die. Not because they want to suffer, but because they want to be free. So we ask you now, who would you be without your pain? Without your story? Without your mask? That question is the key to the portal. Because the portal responds to essence, not ego. It doesn't open for performance. It opens for presence. And presence requires radical honesty. That's why the chosen ones aren't perfect, they're transparent. They don't pretend to be healed. They become so present with their wounds that the illusion of separation dissolves. And in that dissolution, the healing begins. What happened next in that cave was something no camera could capture. The air began to shimmer subtly, like heat rising from pavement. The guide instructed us to breathe not just in and out, but into the center of the chest, the heart field. She said, "This is where the portal anchors." Not in the mind, in coherence between heart and body. That's when we understood why most people never find it. Because most people live entirely from the head. The chosen ones drop into the heart, and from there the coordinates to the portal unlock. This isn't just poetic. This is physics. The heart emits an electromagnetic field thousands of times stronger than the brain. When the heart and brain are in coherence, your body becomes a transmitter. You begin to emit a frequency that the quantum field responds to instantly. That's what the chosen ones do. They don't chase healing. They emit healing. They become the frequency that dissolves dis-ease, distortion, and density. And it's not limited to them. You can do it too, but only if you're willing to recalibrate your inner field. This recalibration isn't always gentle. It will shake you. Because the moment you move toward the portal, everything that is not aligned with your original truth will rise to the surface to be released. The chosen ones call this the purge. It can look like physical sickness, emotional breakdowns, sudden life rearrangements. But it's not destruction, it's extraction. The field is pulling out everything false so the true self can emerge. And here's the part most people miss. You must let it. You must allow the unraveling. We watched one of our crew members go through this in real time. He had been holding grief for years, buried so deep he didn't even know it was there. As the portal opened, he began to tremble. Not from fear, but from release. He collapsed into the earth, sobbing, shaking, and then suddenly silent. When he stood up, his eyes were different. He looked 10 years younger. Lighter. He said, "I felt something leave me. Something I didn't know was there. And now it's gone." That's the hidden portal. It doesn't operate on logic. It operates on frequency. So how do you activate it in your own life? First, you must stop seeking healing as something separate from you. The portal is not a destination. It's a state of being. And the only way to enter it is to become the frequency of wholeness. That means treating your body not as a burden, but as a sacred vessel. Eating for energy, not escape. Moving with intention, not punishment. Resting not from exhaustion, but from reverence. The elite 1% treat their bodies like temples, not because they're obsessed with health, but because they know the portal won't open in a chaotic system. Second, you must discipline your mind not with force, but with clarity. The chosen ones don't entertain thoughts that lower their frequency. They don't replay arguments, dwell in regret, or imagine worst-case scenarios. They understand that thought is frequency, and frequency is your access code. So every thought is either opening the portal or closing it. That's why they guard their mind like sacred ground, not with fear, but with fierce love. Third, and most importantly, you must open the heart. The portal doesn't respond to intellect. It responds to feeling. Deep, raw, unfiltered feeling. That's why the chosen ones cry, rage, laugh, dance, grieve, pray, and scream. Not as a performance, but as a purification. The more fully they feel, the more clear their signal becomes. And the clearer the signal, the more easily the portal opens. This is not esoteric fantasy. This is spiritual science. The hidden quantum portal is real. It exists in a field of coherence that only the heart can access. And when it opens, healing doesn't happen over years. It happens in moments, in breaths, in silence. But only if you're willing to go there, free to go into the silence, to feel everything, and to let go of control. To surrender the identity that says, I am broken, and instead embody the truth, I am whole. When you begin to live from this awareness that healing is not achieved, but remembered, you start to realize that the portal isn't just something you visit. It becomes something you carry. The chosen ones don't just open the portal during meditation or in sacred ceremonies, or deep in the jungle they become the portal. Their presence changes rooms. Their energy recalibrates others. They walk through the world not as preachers, but as frequency holders. They don't need to convince anyone of anything. Their coherence is the message. Their vibration is the proof. But to carry the portal, you must be willing to live in radical integrity. The quantum field does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you are. So if you're asking for healing while still choosing the habits, relationships, and environments that perpetuate your wounds, the field remains still. The portal stays closed. The chosen ones understand this. That's why they are ruthless with what they allow into their field. They don't tolerate energies that distort their frequency, not out of ego, but out of energetic clarity. They know that frequency is fragile and portals are sacred. You cannot keep opening and closing it like a door and expect it to stay stable. You must become a sanctuary for coherence. And coherence requires congruence. You cannot speak love and live in fear. You cannot pray for peace and act in chaos. You cannot visualize abundance and embody lack. The chosen ones do not just focus on what they want, they align every part of themselves with it. That's why they heal fast. That's why they manifest rapidly. Because their thoughts, emotions, words, and actions are all in alignment. That alignment is the portal. That congruence is what opens the field. And it's available to all of us if we're willing to live in full spectrum truth. So ask yourself right now, where are you out of alignment? Where are your actions contradicting your intentions? Where is your energy leaking into timelines that no longer serve you? If you're brave enough to answer those questions honestly, the portal begins to stir. Because it doesn't open for perfection, it opens for authenticity. That's why the chosen ones don't pretend to be enlightened. They're just radically real. And in that realness, the field recognizes them. We once sat with a healer who said nothing for the first hour of our session. When we finally asked what was happening, she said, I'm waiting for your vibration to stop performing. That hit like lightning. Because we realize that most of us approach healing as a performance. We cry when we think we're supposed to cry. We say the right words. We mimic the right postures. But the field doesn't respond to performance. It responds to presence. And presence only arises when the masks fall. So what does this presence look like in daily life? It looks like choosing stillness over distraction, silence over noise, depth over speed. The chosen ones move slowly, deliberately. They don't rush decisions. They don't react to chaos. They respond from resonance. And when they feel themselves slipping out of alignment, they pause not to correct, but to reconnect. Because they know that healing isn't linear. It's cyclical. And maintaining portal access means honoring the cycle, not resisting it. There will be days when the portal feels distant, when your frequency drops, when old wounds resurface. The chosen ones don't panic. They don't shame themselves. They lean in. They know healing is not about staying high all the time. It's about returning to center with more grace each time you drift. That's what mastery is. Not perfection, but return. And every time you return, your signal strengthens. The portal becomes easier to access. Eventually, it becomes who you are. But to reach that level, you must also address the body. The body is not just a vehicle, it's a quantum instrument. Every cell is a transmitter, every organ a tuning fork. And if your body is weighed down by toxins, tension, and trauma, your signal is distorted. The chosen ones purify not to look a certain way, but to tune their instrument. They cleanse. They stretch, they breathe deeply. They move energy through the body with reverence, because they know that a clear body equals a clear field, and a clear field equals an open portal. You don't heal by escaping the body, you heal by embodying it fully. That's why the most advanced healers are often the most grounded. They don't float away, they root in. They bring the light down into the bones, into the blood, into the breath. That's what it means to become the portal. You become the bridge between source and form, between spirit and matter, between the quantum and the physical. And from that place, healing becomes effortless. We once witnessed something so profound it left our entire crew in silence. A young woman with chronic illness, unable to walk without pain for years, stood up during a portal activation and began to dance. Not slowly, wildly, freely, ecstatically. No one touched her. No one prayed over her. The field did the work. Why? Because she surrendered. She stopped trying to be healed and became the frequency of healed. The portal opened and her cells remembered. Her nervous system recalibrated. Her mind got out of the way, and the body followed the signal. This is not rare. This is not reserved for mystics on mountaintops. The hidden quantum portal is available to anyone willing to become energetically honest. That means living in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Feeling your emotions without numbing, releasing attachments to outcomes, listening to your body, trusting the intelligence of your heart, and most of all, remembering that you are not broken. You are encoded with healing. It's not something you gain, it's something you unlock. So where do you begin? Right here, right now. You begin by choosing coherence, by creating a space physically, emotionally, energetically where truth can arise. You begin by asking the deepest question of all. What am I still holding on to that doesn't belong in the next version of me? And then you let it go, gently, fiercely, without apology. Because the chosen ones don't wait for the world to change, they become the change, and the world adjusts. And here's the final truth. The portal is not rare. What's rare is the courage to fully step into it. The elite 1% chosen ones are not chosen by destiny. They are chosen by decision. They decided to live in alignment, and to love through fear, to rise through pain, remember through the forgetting. And that decision made them magnetic to the portal. That decision is available to you now. Now that we've peeled back the veils surrounding this hidden quantum portal and walked through the terrain of alignment, coherence, and embodiment, that we must speak about what happens after the healing. Because this isn't just about accessing the portal. It's about what you do once you've stepped through it. The chosen ones don't simply heal and return to their old lives. That would collapse the frequency and close the portal again. They emerge changed utterly, undeniably transformed. And that transformation demands a new reality to match it. The quantum field, now responding to a different version of you, begins to rearrange everything around you to reflect that shift. But this is the part most people aren't ready for. Because healing at this level doesn't just remove pain, it removes illusions. And illusions are comfortable. They've kept you safe. The illusion that you need validation, that you must sacrifice your truth to belong, that you have to suffer to be worthy, these begin to dissolve. And as they do, your old life may start to fall apart. Relationships, routines, careers, even your sense of identity may begin to feel alien. The chosen ones don't resist this unraveling. They welcome it, because they know that the collapse is not a punishment, it's preparation. The field is clearing space for the life that matches your new frequency. So how do we navigate this in-between space? The space after healing but before full rebirth? The chosen ones hold the line. They do not rush into distractions just to avoid the emptiness. They sit in the void and listen. Because the void is not absence, it's presence in its purest form. It's the space between the old and the new, between the exhale and the next inhale. And in that space, the future is born. That's where the field speaks. That's where the next instructions come. Not from the mind, but from the signal. The signal is everything. The chosen ones live by it. They don't make decisions based on logic alone. They follow the resonance. If something feels heavy, constrictive, dull, it's a no. If it feels expansive, alive, electric, it's a yes. Even if it makes no sense, even if it scares them, because they trust the field more than the programming. And this is the ultimate act of sovereignty, to trust your own vibration over the world's opinion. This is how they stay aligned. This is how they stay portals. You begin to realize something strange happens when you live this way. Reality bends. Time bends. Things come to you before you even ask. You run into people who carry codes you didn't know you needed. You say yes to something small, and it leads to something massive. This isn't luck. It's quantum alignment. This is what happens when your entire being is attuned to the field. The chosen ones don't try to control outcomes. They co-create them by becoming the frequency of the outcome. That's the hidden magic. That's the real portal. So what does this mean practically? It means everything becomes sacred. Your food, your breath, your words, your sleep. The way you enter a room, the way you greet someone, the way you sit in silence, all of it carries frequency. The chosen ones are not performing spirituality. They are living it, down to the cellular level. Because they know the portal is not something you visit once in a vision. The portal is a lifestyle, a rhythm, a devotion. And to maintain it, you must live in high-resolution awareness. But this awareness comes with responsibility. Because once you become a portal, you start affecting those around you. And your energy triggers people. It activates them. It reflects back their own dissonance or their own potential. Some will be drawn to you like a magnet. Others will resist you, even attack you. The chosen ones are not surprised by this. They do not take it personally. They understand that their very presence is a mirror, though a catalyst, a code, and they remain grounded in compassion, not reaction. This is why the most powerful among them live quietly. They are not seeking followers. They are not building empires. They are anchoring frequencies for the planet. They are walking temples. Their life is the transmission. And when people come into their field, healing happens not because they try to heal anyone, but because they are holding a frequency of wholeness so strong that others begin to remember their own. Now you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm ready to become the portal? The answer is simple. You are already it. You've always been it. The only thing stopping you is the belief that you're not. The chosen ones understand that awakening is not about adding anything. It's about subtracting everything that's not truth. And when there's nothing left but essence, the portal opens on its own. The field recognizes itself in you. And that's when the miracles start to normalize, because healing is not the end. It's the beginning. Once you're healed, you begin to live as the healer, not through effort, but through embodiment. Your joy becomes medicine. Your peace becomes transmission. Your presence becomes activation. And you don't need titles or stages. You just need to be. You just need to walk the earth as your true self and let the field do what it does best: respond. So if you've made it this far, understand that this message is not entertainment. It's a transmission. It's a calling. Something inside you has always known there was more. Something deeper than the surface level healing trends. Something truer than the quick fixes. You've been feeling it. The pull to go beyond the techniques, beyond the words, into the field itself, into the portal. This is your confirmation. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to say yes. Yes to alignment. Yes to truth. Yes to the unraveling. Yes to the remembering. And when you do, the portal will meet you halfway. The field will conspire on your behalf. The illusions will begin to dissolve. And what will be left is the real you. The healed you. The chosen one you. That's the hidden quantum portal. That's the initiation. That's the gift. And now it's yours.